Hey guys, Stealth here, and welcome back to Transport Fever. The months have been flying past. It's now May 22nd, 1992 in the game, and the people along the new Central Line are understanding that there is indeed a train line that they can work, and that there is a significant amount of demand for it. Over here it's not that significant yet. 43, 24... I mean, it's okay. El Monte is getting at least a little bit more population than it used to have. Norfolk, not too interesting. 31, 1. That means that the other one just passed. Austin, we have 42 people waiting for the counterclockwise line. But Santa Clara is where it gets busy. Santa Clara has 122 people waiting on the counterclockwise line. Now, so far, counterclockwise line has not actually made me any money, but it's on its way to do that. If you have a look at this train, so far it's making me, or it's costing me money, but it is running at full capacity. Now, counterintuitively, I'm going to say the solution to this problem is to just add more trains, making sure that there's a more consistent transport. Because look at this, the counterclockwise have 30 people waiting here, clockwise have 109. My trains only seat 81, so I'm going to add some more. This is going to be one that's also going to get an additional car, another Westrail West Fleet, so that's 102 people there. This is going to go on the counterclockwise, and we're going to buy a similar unit for the clockwise route. Making sure that we have a bit more capacity, and hopefully not that much waiting time for people. The clockwise line, which I believe is this, no, this is the counterclockwise. The clockwise line, even in its current form, does not have enough capacity. It is just going to be overwhelmed. Which is fine. I mean, that means that there's a lot of demand for that line. Now, I'm considering also adding aircraft. However, aircraft so far for me have never really been profitable. They have always been a bit... I don't know. They've been the stepchild that I would like to have an effect, but that never really worked. It just never really materialized. Let's see, here's another of the counterclockwise lines. You are filled to the brim, and you're making me money. 800k. Thank you very much. Now, Santa Clara itself is doing rather well on the industry department. Look at that. 58% of construction material filled, 79% of the fuel is done. I'm not providing any kind of machinery, but mostly because that, as we established previously, is very difficult to come by. It is going to be, well, it's not impossible, but it's just less handy to start working on that. And I gotta say, there is still a ton of people waiting here. Ah, there's the clockwise line. Hovering up everyone on this end. There you go. And he also made me a small amount of money so far. This one, 1.33 million. I think that these lines might start to make a profit, albeit a modest one. There you go, 200k. It's nowhere near the amount of profit that I'm making on the Santa Clara Little Rock line, but it is definitely starting to ramp up. Talking about Santa Clara Little Rock, I don't have enough trains. There's almost 200 people waiting over here in Little Rock. In Santa Clara itself, for this line, we also have a ton of people waiting. Santa Clara Little Rock has 86 waiting, and I think that most people want to get towards Santa Clara because they work there. That would be my explanation. Look at that, 3.72 million a year. That is one lucrative train right there. 102. So you're filled. 187. We're gonna have to run with a few more trains on this end. Let's make it a few of these big boys. Santa Clara, Little Rock. Let's hope they don't all get in each other's way now. I should have plenty of signals set up, but you never know. Please exit the other way, if at all possible. Yeah, no. Damn it. I was hoping that these trains would space out easily and evenly, but that is not in the cards apparently. So I got about 3 trains coming in. Bloody hell, look at this guy. It's not entirely full yet, so there's also a few people who want to go towards the other end, which makes sense. Let's see if they're all going to get into this train. They're not. This one's only running with 9 people. That means that we have a ton of people who want to get from Little Rock to Beaumont. Correction, from Beaumont to Little Rock to Santa Clara. Probably. Probably. This thing's even worse. 200 people waiting on that end. And I think for this episode it might be interesting to start working towards Colorado Springs and Buffalo and make this another short loop. Because Tacoma has been growing quite a bit. It's on 1,129 people currently. I believe it started out as a pretty damn small town. And there is a refinery close. Let's see if we can get some fuel for that refinery, which I believe we can do, like that. Here's my thinking. If I can have a couple of train lines, let's pause this for a minute, keep the frame rate intact. If I can have a train line going from this refinery or from this oil well to this refinery, and then set up one big train line that takes it towards all directions, so towards Colorado Springs, towards Tacoma, towards Rockford and Buffalo, we can turn all of these things into pretty interesting industrial towns. Potentially, we can even supply them with construction materials, as we have a construction materials plant there, but no stone. There is stone here, there's a quarry. So that could be another road, or another train line. Alternatively, I could just have a train line from here to here, and set up vehicles, so road vehicles going in every direction. I think that might be a bit more efficient, and less interfering with train lines, hopefully. Alternatively, for passengers, Tacoma, Colorado Springs, Provo, Hollywood, Buffalo, Rockford. So that's another eastern central line, or another eastern circle line. What to do? On the one hand, I'm thinking that Tacoma, Rockford, Buffalo, and Colorado Springs could each do with a passenger line. I mean, these two already have it. These two don't. Buffalo is at 227, Rockford is at 751, which I believe also started out as a pretty small town. And if I can feed Tacoma, I could make Tacoma a big hub. I mean, I already have a significant train station invested in. And of course, people have not exactly adhered to the zoning plan and are just building their house immediately in front of a train track. Because why not? I could also provide Tacoma with some more stone. And then I might make a direct line between Tacoma and Santa Clara. One of those super speed lines, which I currently don't have access to yet, but which could be a future development. Anyway, first up, we're going to set up a long loop around Colorado Springs, Provo, Hollywood, Buffalo. I still have plenty of cash, so that's what we're going to do. Let's try to keep these things nice and speedy, which means that these things are too angled. I don't mind if they have a short bend coming out of the train station, but over here they should be running at or near full speed. That is something that shouldn't be too hard to achieve. Let's connect that. Colorado Springs has pretty nice flat area here. So I can build a train station, no, not there. Here. We'll connect the roads later. Oh, what's going on? That's a road. Stealth, you cannot connect a road to a train station. Or you can, but the train won't exactly like it. It's not likely to use it. And why won't you work? There you go. No complaining. Further north. Provo. I'm not going to connect Provo to Mobile, not with a train. Maybe with a bus. Maybe with a bus. So I could set up an end line here. Something like that. Right, there was a bit of an interruption there, but we're back. Now, as mentioned, I will not be putting a train line between Provo and Mobile. The reason for that is that the train station on Mobile is on the wrong side of town. It is by now heavily encapsulated between two areas of the town. And by the way, I gotta start working on these buses because they are no longer covering anywhere near the entirety of the town. The problem is that it's on the wrong side of town, meaning that it cannot be easily accessed from the east. And that is making it so that I'll probably set up a bus line between Mobile and Provo. Anyway, quickly adjust this bus now that I have eyes on it. This is the Mobile bus. You're going towards Main Street. You're also going to be getting a few more stations there, like that. Then to 3rd Street. From Upper Mobile, I want you to add these to your line. Hopefully that's going to add a bit more coverage towards this section. Then we're going to head to West Street, Washington Street. Yes, that looks a bit better. Anyway, on this end I can make a nice sharp looking terminal station. I'm expecting sizable trains on this end as well. So let's see where a good position would be. I could go with a second road connection. Maybe I can fit it in snugly here. Yes. No? Yes. Yes, like that. Excellent. Now this means that we're going to have a bit of a crossover on this section of track. That's fine. Let's see, they're coming in from the south, from this end, at quite an elevation as well, at least initially. Moving north. You know what, I'm going to let the game run in the background, making sure that we're making at least a bit of money. Okay, I want you to come in on the outer track. Like that. Does that make sense, what I'm doing right now? I think it does. I hope it does. And, of course, the road wants to get in the way. Sure. Be like that. I'm not gonna stand for that, I'll have you know. I'll just delete you and put you back later. Which probably won't work at this angle. Which is fine. Let's make it an actual road, not a street. There. Fix that for you. Okay, so now we need to make sure that these trains can also exit towards the east, towards Hollywood. And preferably as soon as possible. Let's see. A train is going to come in from the south. So it comes in from Colorado Springs. Let's say it comes in on the right track. So the right side. It enters the station. And then it wants to exit the station. Does that work here? I think it will. I hope it will. Let's, to be sure, also set up another one. Now, I'm not that good at these types of crossings, as I haven't really used them a lot yet. I know that they can work. I just haven't used them a lot yet. Let's see. A second road connection for you as well. Hopefully you're going to expand on that side. I want a high-speed track, I'll have you know. Alright. Let's link up these. Wow, for once the... Damn it. I was going to say for once the road doesn't get in the way. There's a first. Nah, spoke too soon. It does get in the way. Of course, roads don't like tracks. They have to wait for them. Tracks always have priority. There, at least that works. May need to make you a bit more angled. That'll do. Now this is where stuff is going to get expensive. Because getting to Buffalo means I'm going to have to build one hell of a tunnel. This is gonna get Holy shit, this is gonna get pricey. 31 million. Ouch, I'm not even sure I'm gonna be able to recoup that ever. 41 million. I have the money. That's not the problem. I just don't want to spend that much. If I can at all afford it. Or if I can help it. If I, however, go from this side here, that's 9 million. Is there any closer section? 12, 7 million. That's affordable. It'll also mean that maybe this train station is not really in the right spot at the moment. Not yet, anyway. Because now it's going to have to make a pretty sizable turn here. Ah, whatever. It's all for the best of the future expansion of this project. So, let's just go with it. At least in tunnels they don't have to wait for anything. Unfortunately, the second bit of the tunnel is far less expensive than the first bit. Let's see, oh shit, Rockford. Rockford is going to have a problem. Rockford is a terminal station. It's the end of the line. Can I make an exit here? Hopefully. Can I connect that one as well? Oh, this is so hard to see. Working underground like that. I think this is aligned correctly. But we're going to have to do a bit of experimenting to see exactly if that works out the way I want it to. Anyway, Buffalo. Congratulations, you're going to get your own fancy train station. But not for 1 million. That is ridiculously expensive. There. I'll settle for that. Fast bridge. Doesn't matter. Damn it, I need to start connecting these things to the right side. Thank you. Like that. Who wants to bet that there's going to be a problem? Yep. It's probably because I'm constantly coming in at pretty oblique angles that it is not really appreciating that. What, now this is a problem? Because this bit of road's in the way? Okay, same deal. Coming over. Really? There you go. Alright, and then south we go. That's extraordinarily expensive. Can we just get towards ground level as quickly as possible? That'd be much appreciated. Alright, unfortunately Buffalo is pretty hilly. So we're gonna have to immediately go with another tunnel for $500,000. Again, fortunately I have that amount of cash, but I guess my shareholders won't be happy. At least not yet. Not yet. Once they see how much this train line can actually make me, I think they're going to be pretty happy. Can we connect? Yeah, sure. Add another 2 million to my bank account. Or to my expenses and another 1 million there. Okay. Now, the proof is going to be in seeing if this actually works. First, we're going to go with a clockwise route. Colorado Springs. Then you're going to hook up here. All good so far. You're going to come out of that station and you don't understand how you need to get there. Yes, that's a problem. So Provo is the last bit where everything is fine. And then we get into trouble. Because these two lines are not connected yet. This should help. You still cannot get to Hollywood? Why? Explain to me why. Because now these sections are all lined up. You should be able to get there. Does it have to do with signals, maybe? Not really, does it? So what is your problem here? Might be a few of these intermittent tracks. Construction not possible. I'm not trying to construct, I'm trying to delete. If you don't mind. This is a bit of a clusterfuck at the moment. Let's unfuck it. Alright, so 1 or 2 trains are going to come in along this side. That makes sense so far. This rail line is pretty easy. There. Then I need you to just take the track to Hollywood. That shouldn't... Why won't you do that? Is there something that I'm missing here? Maybe the train doesn't know how to get back from Hollywood. Maybe it doesn't quite understand that. Yeah, can you get here? I'm still not seeing any indicated route here, which is starting to worry me. The station appears... Yes, that's a problem, of course. Okay, so something's not right here. But what is it? It starts to go bad after Provo. How about going counterclockwise? See if we can replicate the problem that way. Go to Rockford. Go to Buffalo. Which you won't do. Because there's some sort of problem underground. This is exactly what I was worried about. It is too hard to see what's going on. You should say that this should work. If wishes were horses. Why won't you work? Unfortunately, I cannot exactly build a tunnel out like that. Because we're getting all sorts of terrain alignment issues. How do we get this done? Because I really hate to break up the station and build it elsewhere. That would be the easiest option here. By far. It would also be pretty expensive. And everything is beautifully built around the station. So I really don't want to do that. I'm gonna have to reconstruct these tunnels. See if they might be the problem. Yes, this is probably deleting too much, but I want these things to work. So we're going to have one section going there. We're going to have one section going here. Ish. Click. One going that way. And one coming back towards this track, which it won't do. Bit more then? Nope, terrain alignment collision. It's a tunnel, silly. I'm not trying to excavate the whole area. Oh, please don't be like that. Nope, construction not possible. Right. So why are you being annoying as that? Do you still know how to get from one side to the next, is the question. I believe you do. It's hard to see, but I think it is still taking the tunnel. Yes, so that one's fine. Okay. This one isn't. Tacoma, Rockford, Buffalo. Tacoma, Rockford, not a problem. Easy. But this is where shit starts to hit the fan. Because for some reason, the train simply refuses to budge and will not go to Rockford. Buffalo. Aha. That may have something to do with it. Do we have any other interruptions in our service line here? Tunnel, working as intended. Crossing. Bridge. No, one would say that that should not be a problem. What side of Rockford do you hit? That side. Then, if you are on this side, there is just a split here. You should be able to get there and make that turn. Don't be silly. You know what? I'm gonna have to figure this out off camera, because currently it is taking too long. Once I figure this out, I'll be back and explain exactly what the problem was. So hang in there, don't go anywhere, and we'll have a look at this in a minute. Alright, we're back. I have figured out what the problem was, and it was as simple as it was hard to find. The problem was not Colorado Springs, Provo, Hollywood, Buffalo, whatever. It was in Tacoma. The line that I picked for these trains to arrive is these northern two tracks, which, until I fixed it, just ended right there. So the train had absolutely no way of getting back, and especially no way of making it onwards towards Rockford. That situation is now resolved, I can inform you. And this train, which is one of the East Circle counterclockwise trains, is now heading towards Rockford. So all is working as intended, except for the fact that I still haven't placed down all of the signals yet, which of course is an important part. I need to make sure that these trains can and will get towards their destinations easily. And currently some of those are still in a bit of a troubled spot, as they're not getting towards their destinations just yet. Because some of these trains are still intersecting, they have overlapping lines, which some of these signals should fix. And of course, since we just started out with this line, there is currently not a lot of traffic on it yet, as per the usual. You are waiting for a free path. Explain to me why that is. There's probably a train either coming in or sitting somewhere on the Rockford line. That would be you, but you just came out of there. Ah, boom, there it is. Hello, Santa Clara Little Rock, 77 people on board. This train track is getting a bit more traffic than it normally does. And, to make matters worse, we have some of these tracks, or some of these trains, going towards the same track, which is a problem. See, I want these trains to take this track, so we have one track moving all the freight or moving all the traffic towards this end, and not so much one that all takes it back, if that makes sense. So what I need to do is do some small adjustments here. Emphasis on small, hoping I don't mess it up entirely once again. So that the trains can quickly and easily make their way towards one way. And then this side is going to be the catchment area, or actually maybe I already have that. To be sure, let's just plunk down a bit of track. Preferably aligned and not going through it. That still does not quite fix the issue, as we still have one train, which is the East Circle counterclockwise, or clockwise, going in the wrong direction. That means that there's probably a problem on the other end. There's probably an issue somewhere here. It's still coming in on the wrong side, departing out the wrong side. See, this is why I don't like having just one bit of track there. Now there's still an issue in the tunnel somewhere. This bit of track is completely redundant and only cluttering up the line, making it hard to figure out which is which. Why are you coming in on the wrong side? Does this help? Whoa, that's expensive. Let's not do that anymore. Can I set this thing up as one way, or are you going to be really pissed with me if I do that? Okay, so we got 3 sections of train on that end. That should work, actually. That should work. And then over here, something that I haven't quite done yet is, and there we go, there's already an issue here. Make sure that some of these bits are one-way traffic. So long as these trains don't interfere with each other, I don't have a problem with them. But I am very concerned that soon they are going to cause a problem, and soon they are going to start to run into each other. Which is the last thing I need in a complex, long line like this. And the problem is probably entirely of my own making, as I haven't given every station one of those crossover tracks. I don't believe it needs it, but I gotta make sure. Hang on, does this work? Yeah, see, there's the problem. Now they only use one side of the tracks, because I set it up as one line, or as a one-way track. Which is not a problem, but I think the problem originates somewhere on this end. Because this too is still a pretty complex train line. Let's see, can you, if you are going clockwise, make it back? You cannot. There's the problem. They cannot make it back. So what I need to do is make sure that they can. Does this fix the problem? Come on. That does not in fact fix the problem. Because now, let's say a train's going to move towards this end, it's going to come back out. Ah, this is tough. Am I really not thinking clearly, or something else going on? This is why I never went into railroad construction. Yep, that's not it either. The counterclockwise line starts in Buffalo. Please don't tell me I have these things set up in the exact same way now, because that's not the plan. The counterclockwise line should go from Provo to Colorado Springs. It does that. Yeah, I have 2 exact same lines set up. What the actual hell? This is not right. We're gonna sell you off, or at least tell you to go back to the depot and then cancel that line. The counterclockwise line works as intended. Next, we're going to set up a clockwise line going from Tacoma to Colorado Springs. Yes, it's picking the right track. To Provo, where it's not really doing what I wanted to do, I suppose. To Hollywood. To Buffalo, and then finally to Rockford. And the problem, it seems, is still somewhere on this end. Because now both of these trains seem to be coming in on the same line. Ugh, I need to figure this stuff out sooner. Tacoma, next one, Buffalo, correction, Colorado Springs, Provo. Does it make it to, it doesn't even make it to Provo. Uh-huh. What exactly is going on here? See, the train does take this section, and there you go. Then it gets into trouble, because then it crosses over. Which it really doesn't need to do. I can just set these things... Oh, that's a bit too close together. I can set these things up as one-way tracks. So then the problem becomes somewhere else. It becomes getting towards Provo, up in the northeast. Northwest. It simply does not want to do that. Not at all. Why is that? Is there not enough in the sense of signals, or plenty of signals? Come on. What's your problem? You know what? I'm sorry. This is turning into a bit of a clusterfuck, so I'm gonna try and sort this out. And next episode, I'll be back with you and looking, hopefully, at... There's your issue. Sometimes it is the easiest things which cause the most heartbreaking problems. And that didn't fix it. Okay. As I mentioned, I'll be back soon with another episode where I will have this line figured out, I guarantee you that. For now, I hope you've been at least entertained by all of my struggling, and I hope to see you soon for another episode. Thank you for watching, see you soon.